Your surname was legally assigned by imperial tax collectors, not inherited from a family tree. These specific syllables mark border marches and toll stations that modern genealogists consistently overlook. The Holy Roman Empire never had a single capital, yet it left a paper trail carved into everyday speech. When you trace those endings, you don't just find a peasant family. You locate a jurisdiction, a toll station, or a sworn oath to a local prince. But here's what almost nobody knows: the spelling didn't matter. What mattered was the tax district that assigned it, and that assignment hides a completely different story about your ancestors' social rank. If you think your name came from a trade, think again. The real clue lies in the suffixes that survived centuries of war and redrawing. Start with the endings that survived centuries of war and redrawing. Names ending in erich, or man rarely crossed provincial borders without carrying a specific administrative baggage. Take a name like Weber or Schneider. On the surface, they're just trades, but drop them into an imperial city charter and the context shifts. These weren't independent merchants. They were guild-bound citizens, registered under a prince-bishop's direct authority. The suffix itself often marked where they paid their yearly guild levy. Look past the craft, and you'll see the real clue: the territorial jurisdiction that controlled their workshop. Yet this only explains city dwellers. What about the families who lived outside the walls, where the empire's legal reach grew dangerously thin? Now discard the myth that von automatically means ancient nobility. Most of these markers were simply geographic flags. A family living near the Rhine Bridge, the Black Forest Pass, or the Lüneburg Salt Flats adopted the landmark as their legal identifier. Imperial administrators loved them because they instantly sorted citizens for conscription and toll collection. If your ancestor carried a toponymic name, they likely lived in a free imperial city or a subject municipality with limited self-governance. The name wasn't inherited. It was assigned by the local magistrate to keep the tax rolls moving. But geographic flags don't tell the whole story. When you peel back the landmarkers, you quickly hit the religious layer that controlled everything from grain yields to burial rites. Push deeper and you'll hit the religious layer. Before the Reformation split the empire, every village answered to a saint's feast day or a cathedral chapter. Surnames like Müller, Fischer, or Bauer often carried a hidden dedication: the patron who controlled the local mill, fishing rights, or arable land. These weren't casual nicknames. They were legal designations tied to ecclesiastical property records. When a bishopric sold land, the tenants kept their working names but lost their protection. The paperwork survived. Your family name is the receipt, but ecclesiastical control only governed the quiet valleys. What happens when you step onto the empire's violent, heavily fortified edges, where survival meant holding a pike instead of a plow? Here's where the map gets violent. The eastern and southern frontiers weren't quiet farming valleys. They were heavily fortified marches, staffed by border guards, miners, and mercenaries. Names ending in injur, or burger often originated in these defensive zones. The empire needed reliable tax collectors who could also hold a pike. If your line traces to a march, your ancestors likely served in a local militia or operated a state-sanctioned forge. The name didn't just identify a trade. It identified a military obligation. And yet, even within these fortified zones, the empire's bureaucracy operated on a flawed human principle. Scribes heard what they were told, and they wrote it phonetically, creating a trail of deliberate chaos. Let's talk about the paperwork itself. Imperial scribes did not care about consistent spelling. They wrote what they heard. A single family might appear as Schmidt, Schmidt, Schmitz, and even Schmid across 3 county archives. The variation isn't an error. It's a fingerprint of migration. When a family moved to escape a famine, a local war, or a heavy tithe, the new clerk re-recorded the name phonetically. Tracking that spelling drift reveals the exact route your ancestors took out of the empire's core zones. But here's what almost nobody knows: the spelling didn't matter. What mattered was the tax district that assigned it, and that assignment quietly granted certain families privileges most citizens never dreamed of. How do you prove you held those privileges? Some names escaped provincial control entirely. Free imperial cities like Nuremberg, Augsburg, and Frankfurt operated outside local dukes. Their citizens held imperial immediacy, meaning they answered directly to the emperor. If your surname survived in city registers without a noble prefix, your ancestors likely enjoyed these privileged rights. They could trade across borders, bear arms legally, and sit on municipal councils. The name wasn't a mark of servitude. It was a ticket to imperial citizenship. But imperial immediacy only covered a fraction of the population. What about the vast majority who never saw a city wall, let alone a tax exemption? Not everyone fit neatly into guilds or cities. The vast majority worked the soil under a system of hereditary tenure. Peasant surnames often doubled as plot identifiers. A family might be known by the name of their specific field, their water source, or their nearest landmark. When imperial cadastral surveys began, these descriptive names were locked onto tax maps. Your ancestor's name likely points to a specific valley, a dried creek bed, or a contested pasture. The land dictated the name, not the other way around. This system worked beautifully until the 1520s, when an ideological earthquake shattered the entire administrative framework overnight. Then came the 1520s, and the entire system fractured. When provinces switched faiths, church records disappeared or were deliberately destroyed. Many families vanished from official roles until secular authorities stepped in. This administrative chaos forced a naming standardization that still echoes today. The Reformation didn't erase your lineage. It forced imperial clerks to codify it. The names that survived the religious wars are the ones that now dominate modern Germany. The paperwork endured the violence, but surviving the Reformation was only half the battle. When centuries of conflict followed, what actually remained of those original records? Here's the hard truth about tracing these lines. Most county archives burned during conflicts, floods, or administrative purges. What remains are scattered fragments: marriage licenses, inheritance disputes, and guild membership cards. You won't find a continuous chain for every surname, but you will find clusters. Those clusters point to specific imperial districts that held their records longer. Your job isn't to find every ancestor. It's to locate the jurisdiction that kept the ledger. And here's the payoff. Those clusters didn't just disappear. They fossilized into modern geography, creating a living map that still dictates how millions of people live today. Where exactly does your family name point on that modern map? Look at the distribution today. Certain surnames still cluster in specific federal states, mirroring 4-century-old imperial borders. That isn't coincidence. It's administrative inertia. Families stayed put because moving meant losing land rights, guild status, or tax exemptions. The name became a geographic anchor. When you search these clusters, you're not just doing genealogy. You're mapping a defunct political system that still shapes modern German dialects, local customs, and even regional politics. The empire never fully dissolved. It just changed its address. And if you think the story ends with a map, you haven't seen how those imperial citizens actually lived, fought, and built the communities that still stand today. Your family name is a surviving imperial artifact, stamped with jurisdiction, trade, and border obligations that outlasted kings. Trace those endings, and you'll find the exact district that assigned it centuries ago. The paperwork survived the wars, the Reformation, and the redrawing of borders. But surnames are only half the story. The regional dialects and local customs tell you exactly how those imperial citizens lived, fought, and built the communities that still exist today. In the next breakdown, we'll decode the regional speech patterns that prove your ancestors never actually left the empire. They just changed the language they used to pay taxes.